Hey guys. If you were at the Sustainable Networking event, this picture was there and you might be in it. Sweet day. These are all the things we're gonna talk about. If you're doing a project update, that's really cool too, so thanks for showing up. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So just a quick recap in case you weren't here last week. Elections are going to be not next week, because next week is spring break, but the week after that. So nominations have already closed. If you got a nomination, you know who you are. Congratulations. If you have until March 14th, which is sometime over spring break, to either accept or deny those nominations, and then we will be voting at the next general meeting. Any questions? Lane.
What does that process look like?
So elections, anybody who has been nominated and has accepted their nomination can come up and give a presentation. After everybody's done giving presentations, we're all going to vote in the poll, which will be distributed online through your email. Does that answer your question? Cool.
For those of you who might be making up your minds, or have already accepted, it's not super stressful. Just kind of talk about why you want the position, and then people just ask some follow-up questions. Nothing too stressful. And Escape shows up, then you should be stressed out.
But we haven't told them about it, so.
Please show up even if you weren't nominated or you denied a nomination. We really want this to be a democratic process. And we want everyone's say in who gets the positions, because whoever your e-board members are, that tends to determine a lot of what happens in ESW.
Yeah,
so we have a lot of free reign. We get to make a lot of decisions. It's cool. And whether or not you are interested in e-board next semester specifically, you are always invited to come to our e-board meetings. If you don't feel like writing this down right now, just email us and we'll send the information to you. We did some cool events. Sustainable networking, I think, was pretty successful. We asked for everyone's feedback. I'm sure Kira's looked at that and I haven't. So she might know if you guys hated it, but I wouldn't know. I know we got at least one person who got an interview out of it, so I call that successful. We also did a Red Barn social. Our arms just fell off and stopped working after that. But Delaney looks great right there.
Because that was the beginning. It was as soon as I got there.
But yeah. Well, now Kira's not here, so I guess we're going to talk about this for her. There's a Green Spark tour this Thursday, RSVP sooner rather than later, so we can let them know the head count. No pressure to go, but it's gonna be really cool, so go if you can.
What's Green Spark?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to describe them.
Cool, I wish Kira was here.
They're basically just trying to make Rochester more sustainable through solar. So they do a lot of residential solar and stuff smaller scale stuff.
So if you're interested,
is that Kira? Thank God. Kira, will you talk about Green Spark? Because I did a terrible job.
Green Spark is a solar provider. They do wind stuff too.
Never mind. Can you talk a little more about what the tour entails?
Yeah, so ESW IRT actually has an alumni that works here as an engineer. Oh, excuse me. Go upstairs. But anyway, so we have an alumni that works here, so that'll be an awesome connection, but they're going to take us to see their solar field. We'll get a nice view of it from their facility, and then we'll go out there, which includes seeing some wind turbines firsthand. So if you haven't seen a wind turbine from a base before, that might be cool. But they also have a presentation planned for us, tour of the other facility, and snacks. Who doesn't love snacks? Which, speaking of snacks.
Oh, wow, thank you. I told you I wouldn't forget, and then I forgot.
I don't know if we have too many, but snacks.
I think probably not.
So the other thing that we're doing today is doing some project updates. So if you're on a project team, you've probably been working really hard over the past 8 weeks. And we want you to get the opportunity to present the stuff you've been working on. And so last time I just threw you into this, so I figured I'd put an order to this. So who's presenting for the Arbor League team? Dope. Okay, one up.
Great.
And when you're done, will you just press the next
How up to date
slide?
is this one? When did you put this one on?
Like 25 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a, so our goal for the end of the semester is to have a 3D model of this base, this entire thing, which is like the toilet seat. And we want to have a 3D model of the mold that we're going to use to create this concrete structure.
Can you get a background of the project?
What?
Can you get a background of the project?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So an arbor loop is basically they will dig a pit, they'll put a toilet over top of that pit fills up, they cover it over with dirt, and they plant a tree on top of it, and then they dig a new pit and they basically move the structure on top of that. So we're working on redesigning. This project has been around for a while. It's been in a couple of MSD projects. So we're just working on making it better, fixing up a couple things with it. So we've been researching Haiti and looking into different arbor loom uses around the world because this has been used. These two are arbor loom designs from Haiti. There are other designs that have been used in Africa. And we've just been trying to come up with as many ideas as possible so we can start narrowing stuff down. The biggest constraint that we have to deal with is we need to make this easily constructed in Haiti with materials that they have in Haiti. So it's a very poor country, so we can't be making this out of like glass, or probably wouldn't want to make it toilet out of glass, but you wouldn't want to make it out of like very expensive materials. So we're trying to do it cheaply. So that's kind of what I talked about. We want to make sure that the structure that we come up with is affordable, cheap materials, hopefully materials that they can just go and grab, like sticks, or we can use, there's palm trees, so we can maybe use palm leaves. We also want it to be collapsible. So this, so since you have to dig a new pit for every time it fills up, you're gonna want to be able to move that structure fairly easily. And also if there's a natural disaster, they have a lot of flooding and earthquakes in Haiti, and also a lot of high winds. We want to make sure that they can take down the structure fairly quickly, so they can store it while there's bad stuff going on, and they can put it back up after the danger has passed. We also need to figure out how to do this sustainably, so we don't want them to be using a material that either they have to use they have to like replace it very quickly, or hopefully something they can just keep reusing forever. So we've been trying to find out as much as we can about what the environment of Haiti is like. We know about this flooding, these high winds. So we're just trying to get a good idea for what we have to work around, as well as what materials we have to be able to use. And we are looking at these arbor loom designs in Malawi, other ones in Haiti, and then Uganda. So for the design, we've mostly been working on the outside hut structure, and we're looking at the shape of it. We found a lot of them are this rectangular shape. We're not really sure why they're doing that, so we're thinking that we could do a cylindrical shape. It'll be better for if there's high wind, it's more aerodynamic. And we're thinking we'd like a cone shape on the top of it because it'll protect from the rain. And one cool thing we found for the material, this is, I think this one was in Haiti. Okay. Well, regardless, they used waste that they had. These rice bags, and actually sewed them together and created like a tarp to go around the outside. So we're thinking if we can find a material similar to that these people in Haiti can use, that would be the ideal material to use. It's waterproof. They can replenish it if there's if they need to. But yeah. So the next steps, we're trying to learn more, just gather as much information as possible right now. We're hoping to talk with Sarah Brownell in the next week and a half or so. so we can just get a really good idea of what materials are available, what constraints we need to work around. We've gathered a lot of information from our own research, but would be better to have a firsthand resource. And we're going to be, Chris is going to be teaching us how to use Fusion 360. So we have a resource to do our CAD modeling on. And I believe the old MSD designs are in Fusion 360, so we should be able to use those as a base. So that's what we're doing. Any questions?
Yeah, lady. Sorry.
I just wanted to wait till the last second. If you make it cylindrical, like what, are you using like limbs to build a structure then?
So
Like
we
that
were
you're bending
thinking
on?
like a stake kind of idea. So
Yeah.
you like put a hole in the ground, put it in, and then
Yeah.
hopefully you can just kind of unwrap your material around it, so it's
Oh,
still
okay.
one piece.
Gotcha.
And if they want to take it down, you just pull out the stakes and roll it
That
back
makes
up.
more sense.
So
Have you considered that people might not be comfortable pooping in a cylinder?
we haven't thought about that yet. Hopefully Sarah Brownell will tell us
It's something
if they
personal.
have a problem with circles.
Jared, do you have a problem with being a cylinder?
You know, I feel like porta potties are the ideal shape.
We'll call you when we do the first field study. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
I mean, I don't want to stand up. So next person, can you just like press the next slide?
Go, Elijah.
Hi, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, that was nice.
Wow, sorry. Thanks.
So we are super excited about our project this semester. It's actually an extension of one that was begun last semester. It's a charging station for a homeless community in Rochester called Peace Village. And last semester they had almost a completed design, but then we realized that it went against certain zoning laws. So we're reworking the design for this semester, focusing on reusing some of the materials that we had from last semester and communicating with the consumers, so talking to the homeless residents there about what they would prefer in this charging station. So you can see a little map here of what Peace Village looks like. So the residents live in the tents around here, a couple different sheds and stuff, but we chose to put our station inside this tent. So zoom in on that, and I missed the slide. Oh boy. Okay, so people can enter the tent from here, and then we'll be placing the solar panel on the outside of the tent right here. And as many of you might know, the optimal way to collect sun energy is to place the solar panel facing south. So we worked that out here, and conveniently there's open space right in all this section, so no obstructions like trees or stuff to get in the way of sunlight. Then we'll have the wiring run in to all of the electrical components stored inside of the tent, as well as this table you see here, which is left over from last semester. And so we'll have USB ports and a wall outlet provided there for all of the residents. Oh, what?
Structures team, oh boy, that's me. So I know, as Elijah mentioned, our previous structure was unable to be built due to zoning laws. So we decided to kind of come up with a new structure that recycled some material we already had and, meet the requirements that we needed to meet in order to have this work. So I'll step over. Our design would be a four-legged, almost kind of cage structure here. This whole structure will be about 4 feet tall around the top. It's not as high as the previous one, and we didn't want to make it as high because they do have pretty high winds at this homeless shelter, so we don't want it to get knocked over. And as for these aluminum bar stock that we decided to use, we were thinking of wood, but honestly, any wood design we came up with was just kind of messy, ragtag, and we figured doing a bar stock aluminum welded together structure was more formal, more strong, and most importantly, it can be easily picked up and moved if needed, which is one of the big requirements that we had. The wall of the tent is right there, and the electronics will be housed within that tent and connected to the solar panel outside of it. That's us returning the cement from last semester. There's really no reason to have this slide here, I should mention, but they put it on here regardless. See, this guy broke his leg. I pulled him out of a well with my arm. I'm strong. This is not,
Moving on.
my team did this to me.
Okay, so luckily the electronics didn't change too much between last semester and this semester. So most of what we're doing now is kind of getting the details down because there's a lot of them. But overall, you have your solar panel, right? So that brings energy to the battery. And attached to the battery, we also have a charge controller. And the main point of that is to basically control the discharge of the battery to the ports, these are like receptacles so that you can plug in the USB ports. But the charge controller controls like how low the battery can go, which depends on the temperature outside, because it's really cold in Rochester in the winter and we don't want the battery to freeze. We also attached to the battery have an inverter. So these are all DC direct current, but there was a need after we talked to the residents at Peace Village to plug in electronics such as hearing aids. So those you can't just plug into USB ports, you need AC, so alternating current. So we got an inverter for that. So there's one 3-prong outlet, and there's also a USB port on this as well. So the goal is to be able to charge 20 phones a day and have battery storage for 3 days. So we're trying to meet the needs of obviously the consumers as much as possible, but given that Rochester is cold and cloudy, we really had to go into detail with getting the right size battery for that.
Yeah, so it's definitely been a learning experience this semester because Peace Village is sponsored by the city of Rochester. So we've had to be dealing with some of that bureaucracy, and we've been interfacing directly with the congresswoman. So that's been really fun. And we have a lot of our more materials coming in. So we hope to have it all constructed within 2 weeks or so and installed by the end of March. So that's exciting.
Cool.
And that's it.
Who's the next slide? Oh, no.
Since you guys are going above here now, what about that one bit?
They filled it in already.
Oh, no.
All right, so I'm here representing the solar installations in the Bug Net team. So what is the Bug Net? Well, it's a structure out in the community garden that is being used to grow soldier fly larvae, which was a senior design project. And basically the whole goal of our project, so what have we done so far? We've gone to the boneyard, we've inventoried what we have. We have 6 solar panels. 2 will fit on this frame we already have created. And then we were hoping to fit 4 on the roof. And we've already talked to FMS about all the safety requirements, so we're working on that as well. And the frame will probably be put in the south end to optimize this. And yeah, we also have the inverter and the battery already ready to go. So going forward, we haven't tested the panels yet. So we're gonna plan on doing that just to make sure that they will be at capacity that they say they are. So we're gonna do that very soon. And then we have to take measurements of the roof to make sure that 4 will actually fit on there. And we're also still working on how we would mount those. So that's about it. Any questions?
What are the alternatives to putting it on the roof?
We would have to probably build another frame, is the current thought, which is doable. But we were considering the roof because it's already a space that we have to do.
Is it facing south?
That's a good question.
What was the
Yes,
question?
south.
It is facing south.
The roof is facing south.
Cool.
Anything else?
Is your battery sized for that inverter? Because it looked really powerful.
The battery, the battery is kind of not pictured. It's below that. It's that little black box, but it should be based on what we've inventoried so far. Anything else?
So like FMS is gonna let you sign off on everything stuff? They're okay with that?
That's what we've been told, yeah, it should be okay, I don't know. They said that it wouldn't, I don't know, they said it should be okay.
Cool.
Yeah, there was concern about putting them on the roof in the beginning, but then something happened and Sarah said it was fine and that's.
Cool.
Did you guys reach out to Bill, what's Bill's last name? Levine. Cause I know he helped make the structure, cause he might have some knowledge as to the integrity of putting them on the roof.
Okay.
Have you reached out, do you know?
I can ask our project leader, Bree, she's not here right now, but I'll ask her.
I haven't heard that name.
I also have not heard that name, so I'm not sure.
I'll remind her.
Woo! Yay! Aw, that's It's upsetting. Hi guys, so for some of the people working, so it's put out by the Biomimicry Institute, and the mission is to take a problem due to climate change and then create a product or a system, some sort of solution, and have it be inspired by nature. So what we have decided on is doing structural insulation inspired by the structure of a wasp nest, and to like capture those thermal properties. This is it's just oh.
All right, cool.
Also, we have a prototype that you guys can pass around and look at. We're gonna talk more, but just pass.
So the structure, as in the inside structure of the wasp nest that is used to keep the wasp nest warm, which is, as you can see in this picture, they're actually like long layers of cells of air pockets, and they're basically using air to as the insulation. So we were, so they did a little field trip there, and they measured each cell. The average width of each cell is about 2.5 millimeters, and that's what we did for the design. So originally we came up with different, to mimic this structure, we came up with different cells for tessellation, because that's easy for manufacture. We can't just do this organic shape. So we did elongated honeycomb shapes. We did triangles. We did rectangular cells that are like in this brick wall formation. And we ultimately landed on this kind of design shown here, or in the prototype. That is pretty much collapsible. This is actually our original cross-section of the prototype, which you can see they're pretty little, like just narrow cells. But thanks to Chris, who corrected my dimension, we were able to reprint and get the correct dimension, which is twice the average width at 2.5 millimeters. And this is collapsible even as plastic. So that's nice for transportation, should this product ever be manufactured and used commercially. We did the heat calculation just to make sure that it actually works. And these are the CAD models. This particular prototype is actually being printed right now at the Institute Hall. And that's the cross-section, which as you can see, this is simply the extrusion of this cross-section.
Yeah, so this is what we've done thus far. We're thinking of using some sort of really good thermal property paper to actually make this product. what we have left to do, if I can ever get to the other slide. I tried to actually. What's left to do? So we're going through the requirements of the design competition right now. And so we have to do a video. So we're all going to be movie stars. It's going to be pretty great. We want to look more into the construction methods. Right now we're thinking of going with paper and kind of like the glued pattern, like the paper model we have going around, but not with my old homework. So yeah, we have different type of materials we would want to try out. Not sure if we'll get to try them out because the design project is more of like thinking of it and like talking to other people and getting feedback and trying to like prove that it's viable, not just like building it. But yeah, our meetings are at 2:00 in the collaboration station. I got to put what day, but they're on Tuesdays, so before this meeting. And if anyone has questions, Ben is contact information. He's project leader, so if you wanted to see what was going on. But if anyone has questions for us right now, yes.
So why did you pick the final shape that you did?
Because it mimicked that type of paper design the best. And we wanted something that was like collapsible because for shipping the installation, it would be really cool for us to be shipping it flat and then like expanding it when it fits like into the installation site. So it's like more efficient and that like all ties in with, you know, transportation cost and like the energy that goes into that. So, yes.
Did you compare it at all to like traditional insulators?
Yes, so we have some different comparisons going on right now. We haven't finalized all of them, but we believe it's going to be better for like the thermal conductivity, so insulate better. It's definitely a lot better manufacturable for the environment because if you've seen fiberglass insulation is like really toxic and there's a lot of chemicals that like are just put out by like, making the fiberglass insulation. So in that sense, it's definitely better. And we're gonna do some cost analysis to see like materials wise, like how it lines up.
Also, using air as the main insulator can save a lot of material, as you can tell by the comparison of these.
We did some of those calculations actually just this afternoon. And it turns out it works really well. So we're really excited about that compared to other types of installation like fiberglass and urethane and stuff like that.
Got to first, not to throw more math at you, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
But the Wasp I noticed had the installation of arranged like distinctly in ring-like patterns. And I assume that this installation would be used for like wall or flat planes. Have you looked at the relative efficacy across like different geometries? I realize that could be a paper in itself.
Yeah, so we didn't go into, we did some heat calculations.
Could you go to like the other slide, the previous slide? Yeah. Yeah, so the heat's actually going from this side to the other side or vice versa.
Yeah. So we didn't, I don't believe Chris would know better if we did heat calculations for different shapes, but I think we were really just going with the principle that the air is the size of the air pockets, and no matter what shape it is, it's really dependent on the air pockets sizing.
It's actually specifically about the width of the air pocket, which aligns with, you know, these layers, and they're, you know, on average 2.5 millimeters wide.
In this case, and not to throw more back at you, but the thing that's important is the arrangement of these cells perpendicular to the path of the heat of the material. So if you have a cylindrical or spherical or whatever kind of geometry, as long as the heat is moving through those layers in the same direction, we can use this sort of geometry in either situation.
Okay.
Second question.
That makes sense, yeah. And then the other thing was, depending on what material you're going with, it sounds like you'll be wanting to keep the material compressed for a long time during transport, and then have it expand back out.
Mhm.
And I know that works for like the mail order, mattress stores, but for materials like that, does the phrase living hinge, ring any bells?
No, we were planning on having like spacers that would hold the material apart when it was like installed. So it wouldn't be like the physical property of it like expanding, it would just be like having like a mechanical spacer that like, even just plastic clips that hold it open. So that's where.
smart. It also means you get to keep your, performance like decades into the future without the thing like slowly collapsing on itself.
Yep.
Yeah, as you can see in this model, like the middle is collapsible, but the sides are actually pretty rigid because we have the top and bottom as the, like the support structure. So, yeah.
Did you have a question?
Can you go back to that one?
I'll try.
It looks like to me that the cells are rotated the other way. Am I seeing this wrong? Like,
What do you mean? In which picture?
As opposed to the orientation that you're suggesting.
In which picture?
The beehive one.
Oh.
Like I see the geometry as if the heat is coming from the out going in,
Mhm.
and the geometry like, looks as if that was rotated 90 degrees. Or is that not actually the case?
I think the point with the wasp hive is that the heat's gonna be coming like normal to any particularly like surface of the sphere. And then like in a house or a building, it's also going to be coming like perpendicular this way. So we have like the air pockets are like going perpendicular. Whereas like here you have like, I don't know if you can see the red lines, but that's like where the air pockets are. And the heat would be coming perpendicular on any surface of the sphere.
So is this a cross section of the beehive or is this the outside?
It's a wasp hive.
I'm sorry.
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 And yeah, this is basically like the cross section, and it's like the remains of an old wasp hive that now came down. So it was like suctioned onto, not suctioned, but attached onto this piece of plywood and built outwards. So it's like a cross section.
Cool. Yeah, sorry if we didn't explain this
Yeah.
more clearly earlier. So basically, the heat, again, will go orthogonal to the surface of the wall. Like, picture this as part of a wall. This particular prototype is designed to be represented as a chunk of the wall. And this is pretty much the orientation, like that. And he is going perpendicular to the surface.
Yep. So yeah, we want the air pockets like this way in the wall.
If wasps are literal 3D printers, then they would, print something like this, but they're
Yeah.
not. They go around. This is more efficient.
Yes.
This is a kind of weird question, but do you know what are wasp nests? Like, how are they made and what are they made of?
We do know how they're made.
Next question.
Okay.
Do you want to go into that, Chris? Briefly.
These are long.
Okay. Yeah, this is just also something really cool we found was like basically that picture is a 3D printer printing out like a clay type paper. When we were thinking about that, considering that. But thank you guys for your questions. It was really helpful for our video. We know exactly what to expect.
All right, hello everybody. My name is Chris. I'm on a team with Carson and Kira and Morgan and Ben are not here right now, but they're also on the team. We are working on the Taproot Collective's Build Day, which is an event that we're holding. What we've done is over the past 2 semesters, we've been, I say we, Carson and the team have been working to make sure everything is in order so that we can eventually build a rainwater collection and irrigation system in a single day. We're getting really close. This is in 2 weeks from now, so we're getting towards the end. So far, we have a water collection system from the greenhouse and from the yellow house, the actual house that's on the property. From there, we're going to be gathering the water from the gutters that will be installed, and then routing that water to very, very, very large water collection storage tanks. From there, we will be distributing that water throughout their garden on their property. The property is about 1.5 acres. So this is not a small project. Let's see, we also have, we're going to be building wooden structures underneath the storage tanks to make sure they're raised above the ground, to make sure we have enough head pressure through the system to make sure the water gets where it needs to go. Did I miss anything? Nope, that's pretty much it. There's also going to be gray water system for the bathroom, which will be slightly separate. What we've done in the past semester, we have taken detailed measurements from the build site to make sure all of our specs are in order. We have done a lot of fluids and structural calculations, and everything seems to be working so far, which is good. We purchased materials recently. There's a picture of Kira with one of the storage tanks, for census scale. And we are currently coordinating with a whole bunch of local organizations. Here's a few of them that we know will probably be involved. So we've got Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Flower City Pickers, Stan Tech, and several different ESW chapters, including HQ. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, in that case, build day. Saturday, March 23rd. Please consider coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. Be there or be there. We also need people to sign up to be zone leaders, which is what we're calling sort of the people who are in charge of each subsystem of the design. We will be giving like all of the instructions, emergency contacts, everything you could possibly need. We just need you to be there and be an authoritative presence to make sure that things go well. So you should have received an email recently from the ESW account that has instructions to how to sign up. We have like a little survey to sign up to do that. So please do that. We need more people doing that. Here.
If you go to the next slide too, there's a specific sign up for zone leaders.
Oh, there you go.
So we specifically want zone leaders to be ESW RIT members, so that you'll be the point person for each of these different sub-assemblies, like Chris said. But you'll report to Carson, who's project lead, to report any milestones or dilemmas of the design. But we'll have a meeting beforehand, probably the Tuesday after this meeting, right before the build, so that you know pretty much everything about the build day and can be a resource to everyone there. So zone leader sign up is separate from the general sign up. You don't have to be a zone leader, but
Oh. Sorry.
Okay.
Sarah.
What are the times for the build day?
So it's from 10 to 4. Zone leaders we would ask to help set up and tear down, which would be about half an hour before and after, maybe an hour.
No, Avery.
So I think I already know the answer, but you're saying zone leaders should be there the whole day?
Yes. So there is an option to sign up for different slots if you're just coming to attend. If you're going to be a zone leader, it's really ideal to have you there the whole day. But if you're just coming to volunteer, if you can only make the afternoon, that's fine. But it's definitely ideal to have you there the whole day. Lunch is also provided.
If we want to be zone leaders and we haven't yet signed up on the regular thing, do we need to do both?
No.
Okay.
Avery.
No, please ask more questions. Yes, Avery.
Y'all have tools, right? And regardless, can other people bring their own tools? I have a shovel I like.
So my concern would be for your shovel that you like in tools getting mixed up, because we are going to have tools there.
Yeah, I would say if you have them clearly labeled with your name and like combat, that would probably be good.
Or if you like just held on to them the whole time.
Yeah. But I would just be concerned about confusion. But if you're really attached to your shovel, Or if you have one of those belts that you can have all this cool stuff.
If you're comfortable doing that, then by all means, yes, more tools the merrier. Unless they're like power tools, don't do that.
Do you guys have enough safety glasses for everyone? Like, are there certain other protective equipment, if we have our own, that we should be bringing?
If you have your own safety glasses and or gloves, that'd be ideal. Like, we're gonna have gloves that probably won't fit everyone. Especially like if we have Girl Scouts or people with mask pans, I don't know how that's gonna work. So if you have gloves that you prefer, would be comfortable with, wear closed-toed shoes. I mean, think about if you're constructing something, you want to be prepared. But we'll be sending out, once everyone signs up, we'll send out all those updates of like, bring a water bottle, wear safety glasses, wear closed-toed shoes, be prepared for weather. We don't really know what's gonna happen. It could still be winter.
Good.
So.
It will.
But we're not the only chapter doing Build Day. Cornell's doing a Build Day. UB's doing a Build Day. So we may also be putting out updates to go to their Build Day to help out.
Yeah, just so there's not any confusion. This is ours.
Yeah, we're more important.
Did you have a question? What?
I'm good.
Okay.
Do you think I could be a zone leader at like UB or something?
Only if you're also a zone leader for us.
I don't know if they're doing the same system as us. This is,
Probably.
we're doing this, it's kind of the same
Yeah.
for this, okay?
Yeah, all the Build Day projects are super.
Ask them.
What chapters do you know are coming to ours?
Cornell messaged me, which I didn't update you that, but Cornell might be coming, so
Cool.
that's cool. We haven't heard from the other ones recently.
Okay.
Probably someone from UB will come, but we don't know.
Yeah, and this is the weekend
Bring
after spring break, so definitely sign up soon, because we want to get numbers for lunch and figure out these zone teams. So, and you'll probably be working with a team of like, maybe, a professional adult in their 30s plus, or, Girl Scout, age 12 through 17. So it'll be a good cross-disciplinary experience.
Is there one that are both get canceled, or is it pretty much set?
There is a rain date for April 14th. Ideally, we don't have to use that, but there is a rain date.
That's like for
Hailstorm.
clear out conditions.
It'll probably rain then too.
But then there'll be a warm space now.
Well, you'd think.
Well,
Okay, any other questions? All right, I hope to see you guys there. This explains the boxes that Kira brought in.
yeah, so no one seems to be wearing the swag, including myself, but we have ESW polos, we have ESW t-shirts, and we have ESW mugs. So in case you already bought them on Campus Group and didn't get your shirt yet, you can come bother me in the back. Or if you didn't get one yet, do we have a link to the store? We can give you a
There
link.
is a link to the store.
We can give you a link to the ESW store, Campus Group store. You can buy one right now and get your shirt. If you want one, you don't have to get one, but they're kind of nice.
Also, we do have a list of people who have purchased it, so don't come up to us like, yeah, I got this.
So that's pretty much the meeting. So while you're buying shirts and signing up to be a zone leader, I think that's it, right?
Yeah,
Also,
that's it.
these projects are awesome. I hope you all realize what a cool thing you're doing. Like,
Yeah,
seeing
let's
the-
give everybody a round of applause.
Like for anyone not seeing the projects going on firsthand and then seeing all this progress, it's like, oh, we're doing such cool stuff. So be proud of yourselves. And also buy ESW swag.
Okay, thank you guys for coming.
Not really.
I didn't go there and take a video.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, that's. Sure, yeah. I should have passed it around. I really should have passed it around. So like if you did it right, yeah. I should have. Yeah. Thank you. You could have never done that.
Is the, do you see the thingamajig? The thingamajig? They brought it up.
No, as soon as I looked at the receipt and it was like 388, I was like, forget
Do you have any more questions? Sorry. That's really aggressive.
Do I have the question? For whoever was.
And we are going to, the library.
Yeah. I think you might want to consider. There might be.
It's got a satisfying sound to it. Oh my god, that's terrifying.
I take it all back. Oh no, this is still going.